With the SmackDown title match for Unforgiven officially set up last Thursday with Lesnar vs. Taker in the first exclusive title match on pay-per-view, including them due to already being advertised in the markets prior to the SmackDown switch headlining the Raw exclusive house shows during the weekend in 3 title matches. The Raw brand, which starting next week is set to enter its toughest season on television against heavier football competition on Monday nights until January 2003, remained not only without 2 of the top full-time names in the company in Taker and Lesnar, but also without the world title belt to build the top programs for house shows on the road and on television, leading to a major move from the company to kick off Raw on September 2nd, with Eric Bischoff reacting to the Lesnar jump, saying that Raw viewers, as the #1 brand in wrestling TV history, deserves their own world champion to bring out Triple H to the ring, taking several shots at Lesnar for jumping brand, saying that he knows he doesn't belong in the same ring, leading to Eric making the big reveal of the night to reintroduce the old WCW World Heavyweight Title belt as the new exclusive Raw title, handing it to Hunter as the #1 contender and the last person to hold it in April earlier in the year, while in the process starting Triple H's run as the top promoted performer on the Raw brand, with him for the first time in his career set to be depended on as the top drawing star, with Rock, Austin and Hogan all out of the picture for the foreseeable future, setting up his first title defense in a major match personally and professionally, with Ric Flair as the person most synonymous with the gold belt challenging Hunter to win it in the ring to book the first ever Flair vs. Hunter match for the title for later tonight, opening Raw strong with 4.8 million viewers for the new title reveal segment in one of the biggest first quarters in months, nearly at the level of the SummerSlam follow-up from last Monday. With the Raw brand now set to be built around Triple H as the top guy, with Rock and Hogan not expected to return until WrestleMania season next year, along with Austin's dispute with the company continuing, and no new developments on Scott Steiner's negotiations for the past several months, the other top 2 free agents in the industry in Bill Goldberg and Sting made their in-ring return for the first time since the end of WCW almost on the same day, with Sting making an appearance on a show set up by Ted DiBiase on Saturday in Omaha, which included him taking a bump through a table before clearing the ring in the main event, while Goldberg, in a higher profile setting in front of sold-out crowds totaling around 30,000 people, wrestled for the first time since January 2001 in back-to-back nights to massive reactions in Tokyo, Japan, going over 2 of All Japan's top names in quick matches to establish him back in the business, with Goldberg, which still hasn't fully recovered from the arm injury suffered a few months back that ended up delaying his planned first meeting with Vince McMahon, not using either the spear or jackhammer in both matches, with him set for a return to Japan over the next several months, with Raw after the stronger than usual opening segment seeing the second quarter picking up further to a 3.8 rating with 5.3 million viewers, featuring a Bubba and Trish tag team tables match to make it the most watched segment of the first hour, with the show from that point on taking an unusual viewing pattern for the rest of the night with an almost consistent slide throughout. After a Booker vs. Regal match going 3 minutes with Booker going over, Raw closed the first hour with the second most promoted segment of the night, featuring Shawn Michaels' first comments since his strong comeback performance last Sunday at SummerSlam, selling the post-match injury angle on a wheelchair, saying that he's gonna regain full mobility after his rehabilitation process, while talking about the legitimate feelings and worries before his in-ring comeback, with him not wanting to return unless he can live up to his past reputation, saying that judging by the crowd reaction during it in the building and by the response to the match later, it was good enough for the fans, which made it worth it for him, opening the door for future matches by bringing up his sledgehammer to continue to build the Triple H feud, with Raw now needing top names to fill the void in the brand more than at any point since the early stages of the Monday Night Wars, with the Michaels interview closing the 9 to 10 p.m. hour saw it on the back of the strong opening 30 minutes, for one of the only times in the past several years outdrawing the second hour in total viewers with over 5.1 million.
Triple H defending the title he grew up watching Ric Flair make famous throughout the 80s was placed at the top of the hour quarter with the first match for the world title on WWF television since Rock vs. Jericho last December at the Vengeance pay-per-view, seeing the first ever Flair vs. Hunter match in a unique scenario for Hunter with his first title match coming against Flair, going 10 minutes to peak the show at a 3.9 rating with over 5.3 million viewers and the only quarter to come close to the 4 rating range throughout the night to make it the first Raw in the regular time slot not to break the 4% of the viewing TV audience for any segment since early 1998 when the company's momentum was trending upwards against Nitro competition on the way to the peak of the boom period, ending up with Hunter retaining to bring out Jericho and Van Dam for the post-match brawl to change the originally advertised Jericho vs. RVD singles match to instead set up the main event tag with all 4 involved in less than an hour. After the lowest show high number of the year, Raw saw an additional major drop following the 5.3 million viewers watching the Flair-Hunter match to result in the second hour, which from 10:15 p.m. hovered around the 4.8 million viewers range, being one of the few times where the first hour was more watched than the second, in a rare situation especially on an unopposed night, dropping steadily from 5.1 to a 4.9 million viewers average despite having Kane's first match back in almost 5 months coming after his return segment at the Garden in the same time slot drew the most watched quarter of the night last Monday, going over Christian and Storm in a 6-minute handicap match with Kane making his in-ring return from arm injury over the weekend. House shows with him in a similar situation to Lesnar and Taker, working the SmackDown tour after already being advertised weeks in advance in singles matches against Bull Buchanan, which included a post-match angle involving Bischoff and Stephanie to end with him laying out Eric. Outside the top of the hour gain for the Triple H vs. Flair title match, Raw saw its only other viewership growth during the entire second hour, coming between 10:30 to 45 p.m. with a slight increase of 70,000 viewers for a quarter featuring Big Show vs. Dreamer going 3 minutes, followed by Bischoff confronted by Hunter and Jericho to set up the main event tag match and an angle with Jeff Hardy and Crash with a tease of one of them jumping to SmackDown to meet a family member, setting up a swerve with Eric sending Rosie and Jamal to take out Jeff before the reveal of it being Crash with the Bob Holly connection jumping brands. After a Stacy vs. Terry pillow fight to open the final quarter, Triple H made his third entrance of the show at 10:55 p.m. with him if Raw's direction was not already clear going forward being placed in all 3 main TV time slots throughout the night, seeing the Flair and Van Dam vs. Jericho and Hunter tag match going 10 minutes into the 8-minute overrun, and while the match in the ring was a routine main event tag with arguably the 4 top full-time names currently on the Raw brand, the result on television, which wasn't helped by it being Flair and Hunter's second match of the night, which traditionally does not draw as well as the first, saw it bombing with one of the only times in show history since the company started to go past 11 p.m. in mid-1998 that the overrun segment actually dropped in viewers, closing the show at a 3.4 rating with 4.7 million viewers, which in an almost unheard of situation on an unopposed night actually drew a lower audience than the opening segment to the lowest viewership of the entire 2 hours, making it the least watched main event match on Raw since the early stages of the Boom period head-to-head against Nitro at its peak run, ending up with Van Dam pinning Triple H for the finish to set him up as the first challenger for the new title at the Unforgiven pay-per-view, with things not set to get any easier for the Raw brand for the rest of the year, with major sports competition starting next Monday in what will be a major challenge for the show to maintain numbers heading into 2003.